Planes were meant to fly, planes they ain't supposed to fall from the sky. But if they do, they'll leave behind more than a piece or two. Planes just be flying, I know you think I'm lying. The USA, they be hiding the truth, and I ain't buying. Planes they're meant to fly, planes they ain't supposed to fall from the sky. But if they do, they'll leave behind more than a piece or two. They'll leave behind more, and I know you think I'm lying. The USA, they be hiding the truth, and I ain't buying. Planes they're meant to fly, planes they ain't supposed to fall from the sky. But if they do, they'll leave behind more than a piece or two. Planes just be flying, I know you think I'm lying. The USA, they be hiding the truth, and I ain't buying. They'll leave behind more than a piece or two. They'll leave behind more than a piece or two.
Out in the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeeze so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
Thin shell formalism plates so fine, spherical geometry we realign, energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Coulomb forces balancing the plates, creating the throat, opening gates.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I think there's a longer version of that song somewhere. I gotta find it, guys. Thank you guys very much for being here tonight. Appreciate you. Glad to have everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. Thanks for jumping on early as well for all my people who are on early. There's too many of you guys to shout out individually, but thank you guys very much. I see you, Staycation Jason, Flimsy. Everybody else is here. We got a lot of new faces in the chat as well, guys, which is awesome. So what are we going to talk about today? First of all, I want to say that I had another follow-up piece with Emerald today. And so you'll probably see me wearing this shirt again when that pops. and she talked about the Amy Eskridge letter to Trump and Pence from 2019. And so I mentioned that. I brought up information about that, how I had, I'd seen the post from Sam Neill that letter was real. So I don't know when that's going to drop. That might have dropped earlier today. If it did, I did not see it. So they usually will send it to me, and I'll probably post it on Twitter as well, so you guys can check that out. So what are we going to address today, guys? So if you just saw my most recent Twitter post, then you saw that I had a kind of a thing pop up today that I did not expect would happen. Let me pull it up here. This Reddit post from I had reported a week ago on this Reddit post, because when I read this Reddit post called I worked on a team that dealt with non-human intelligence technology and left in 2018. I read through this like briefly, and there was a couple pieces on here that I thought was pretty interesting, but I get a little bit sketched out when I hear about people talking about biologics and aliens and stuff like that. And then today, I was in touch with a source, or I got in touch with a source that pretty much corroborated that the person that wrote this is legit. It's not somebody LARPing on the internet. That doesn't necessarily mean that every aspect of this is true. But it does mean this isn't some kid who made up a story. It's not some AI story or whatever like that. So no, I won't go into what my sources are or my methods or how I got that. Obviously, you can tell from the situation here that this is a serious situation. This post was deleted off of Reddit. What I can say is I was told that this was deleted because it's accurate. That's the reason why it was deleted. And, for at least from a, the way the programs work situation. That's why the government doesn't want it on there. And the reason why I thought that was interesting is because there are other Reddit posts like this that we've investigated in the past that had similar things happen to them, including the EBO scientist post that if you haven't been hanging around this whole time, I think that was maybe January. We talked about that. This one's a little bit shorter, but it's going to take like 20 minutes to get through. It's like 5 pages long. The EBO scientist post one was so long that it took like 45 minutes to an hour to get through, and I lost my voice. But it does beg the question about this one, and it begs the question, too, about the 4chan whistleblower. So if you are familiar with those, then you're going to see a lot of crossover here. If you're not familiar with those, then you should probably check those out later. I think those, to me, are the 3 most credible leaks, whistleblower leaks that I've heard on Reddit or, social media in general. So we'll see. Let's see. We got Redditors here. Krishley just posted a video showing the plane going over the reticle layer at least 10 times in the videos. It's done. I'm sorry, Ashton. I think the Redditors are having like a mentally ill breakdown at the moment, because if I go back real quick, I didn't actually do anything is the best part. If you guys are not familiar, Bobby O had reached out to me several, weeks ago, I want to say, and said that he was curious about investigating the case. He thought that the debunkers' logic was very flawed and that he wanted to look into this from an objective perspective. And I said, go nuts. And I said that I don't want to be directly involved, because I want him to come to his own logical conclusions. And that if he had questions, I'd be happy to answer. And he told me he was going to talk to all the debunkers. He came back to me and told me that he talked to them for several hours about their arguments. And he just posted today this post right here. And this post here, he goes through a detailed analysis of the cloud picture. So if you're not familiar with the cloud picture, and then we'll get back to the other stuff. This cloud picture saga was the Kim.com saga that happened in early December. It seems very likely that Kim.com was a government plant who was sent to try to build the case up and then to shoot it down. Nothing about Kim.com is credible. I have no connection to Kim.com. I separated ways with Kim.com right after this happened. And as far as I'm concerned, he has absolutely nothing to say about the videos. Nothing he says has any credibility. He is literally a career criminal. He's been convicted of fraud. He is facing extradition in the United States for, I think it's extortion. Don't quote me on that. I think but he's facing some very serious charges. If he were to come to the United States, he's probably going to spend a decade or more in prison. So if the debunkers want to align with him, go nuts. They want to align with a fraud who has a criminal who has no credibility whatsoever, who's defamed me on stream. Go crazy, man. Go crazy. But this debunk, I read through it, and for the record, I had no connection to Bobby. I wasn't involved in making this whatsoever. I wasn't involved in any process related to this. I didn't ask him or make him show me this ahead of time. I had no idea what was going to be in it. And ultimately today, this completely destroyed the cloud debunk picture permanently. There's no more credibility. I mean, the cloud picture didn't have any credibility to begin with because it's literally impossible for there to be a picture of the clouds in the drone in the videos because we have 2 videos and it requires a 3D rendered environment. But he did very thorough analysis, talked to the Textures website, and concluded that there was really no credibility to this whatsoever. There's no evidence at all that this picture existed before the videos did. And that's the biggest thing. There's literally let me repeat that. There's no evidence whatsoever this picture existed before the videos. End of debate. And so you can see here, he's listing all the locations that they searched, quite an extensive search. There's really nothing there. And then the real killer was this here, and this is just completely the end of the debunk, like permanently dead. No more discussion about cloud pictures right here. 2 pictures from completely different angles taken 2 seconds apart. 2 seconds apart, completely different angles. When you look at the rest of the pictures, because they've got the metadata on when the pictures were taken, and you see them lined up. In fact, I'll just go back to mine here to see it's easier. You can see that there's pretty much like a minute or less, slightly less than a minute between every picture, except for when you get to this set. All of a sudden, he's taken like 5 pictures in under a minute, and some of them are completely different angles within just a second or 2 apart, which is completely impossible. So that completely rules out the possibility that this picture could be real. Yeah, so if you want to check out this video, I recommend you go through it. He goes through details. There's other sketchy stuff as well. For example, these manual updates. So it's been confirmed. I think the textures.com people confirmed as well that they did manual updates to these pictures back in April and February and March or May, which makes no sense at all. I run databases. That's like my actual job is. So when you do database updates, you don't manually update pictures that are 12 years old. That never happens. But also when you run a script, and they've said that they ran a script, so they gave this inconsistent story. When you run a script, it like updates all the rows at the exact same time because the script like is instantaneous. You don't have these huge gaps between when you do it like this. So I guess the argument is they went in and they manually touched these pictures and like rearranged the order of the pictures and stuff like that, which is extremely sketchy. So for whoever that Serpo project person is, sorry to burst your bubble, but the videos are real. And if you want to waste your time trying to debunk them, no one's going to stop you. You can't debunk real videos. So I do wish you the best of luck, but it's over for the most part. The debunks are all dead permanently. You guys tried. I mean, you tried really hard. You're going to have a hard time rationalizing to yourself the reality of the science and the videos that we've been talking about. I understand how hard some of this is for the debunkers to accept because their whole lives have been a lie. And they're the kind of people that like trust authority blindly and they think that they can never be lied to. But I got bad news for you. You've been lied to your whole life. Your whole lives are a lie. I hope you get used to it. I hope you start to cope with it and however you need to cope with it. Truly doesn't matter to me how you deal with it, how you rationalize it. I just hope that you please don't hurt yourself. That's the only thing that I ask is just don't hurt yourself. It's going to be okay. You'll get through it. Okay, so let's get back to the task at hand as well here. And for the record, like I'm not blocking people that disagree with me, but if you go into my replies and you start like trying to call me a grifter or whatever like that, which is the #1 thing that I get, you are going to get blocked right away and you're never going to be unblocked ever. So, that's all. So Serpo, I won't block you right now, but that's what the rules are, guys. So just don't be a dickhead. If you can't help being the dickhead, then don't be surprised if you get blocked. Okay. That's all. Okay, let's go through now. So we dealt with that. Okay. So now I think I don't want to be up all night tonight, guys, and we might end up pushing the science again until tomorrow. We'll see how much we get through here. It depends on how fast I can get through this Reddit post. Whew. And for the record, yes, I still think Reddit is the worst, but people do post on there, and apparently people post on there that are whistleblowers that want to get the information out there. I'd post on Twitter, but whatever. They can post wherever the heck they want, man. Okay, here we go. And okay, last comment I'm going to make on this. Krishley has no credibility whatsoever. She obviously has major issues, and I wish her the best, honestly, as well. But you know, she's lied multiple times. She lied and defamed me out of context on a Twitter space, and that's when I cut all ties with those people. So you know, if you're not willing to tell the truth, then you know, whatever. I wish her the best in her grift and her clout chasing or whatever, as well as the other debunkers who are like literally paying hundreds of dollars. These guys are out there literally paying hundreds of dollars to promote fake debunks. Like, I wish you the best. Good luck with your grift. Maybe somebody will talk to you sometime when you're brave enough to put your face on the camera. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So here's the thing too. The post on Reddit that we're going to go through here is deleted. Like, I went back to it. It's gone. I went back and looked through the Wayback Machine. Even on the Wayback Machine, there's nothing left anymore. And I'll prove that to you right now. So I was told directly that this was deleted because of its accuracy and authenticity. But you can see here, this is only like 2 paragraphs. There's way, way, way more in this. So this is the person that posted it, Hoosiers fan 1968. I don't mind showing that because they posted their own Reddit account. I don't know if they've deleted it or anything like that. Yeah, if a Redditor posts, does anyone care? Yeah. And poor Shane, if you guys are not familiar with the drama, UFO Shane, he blocked me after I told him that I thought that what he did with the debunkers was extremely disrespectful and that I didn't want anything to do with them after that. And so anyone that blocks me, I usually just block them right back. So we won't ever be dealing with UFO Shane again. So if you miss his rants, well, whatever. If you're not familiar with him, then congratulations. You missed out on nothing. Okay, so this is gone. Obviously here, there's nothing left of this, and this is the Wayback Machine. So let me close that out. Close that out. And we're also going to talk about the Aether and Terrence Howard, but I want to go through the Reddit post first to get that out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up, I put it into a text pad. So people may ask, well, how did you get it? Well, the answer is that a bunch of people in my Discord saved it. So we have the whole thing to read through. God, this is long, chat. I'm going to read through this, and I'm also going to give my opinions on it while I read through it. And you guys can ask questions or give your opinions in the chat as well. Oh, let me have another sip of martini. By the way, guys, cheers. Yeah, I couldn't deal with the UFO Shane guy anymore. Like, he just would repeat himself over and over and over and over again. It's like at some point you just gotta, like, you know, let other people talk. Yeah, I'm not gonna promote any more debunkers either, guys, because the whole thing is like you shouldn't give people like that any. You shouldn't even notice people like that. You definitely don't want to give them any promotion. But I do like to make people aware of the situation. So there most likely will be a new rule from this point going forward that we will simply not address debunkers anymore. The only one that I potentially will address is Mick West. If you didn't check today, I destroyed Mick West like completely. He didn't answer any questions. He couldn't even answer how a 2D cloud picture could be involved. I showed him all the evidence. So if you can find the replies in there. But this is the situation with the debunkers, right? The debunkers never answer any questions that they don't have an answer to every single time. I've answered every single question anyone's ever really asked me. And if you think that I haven't, it's probably just because I've answered it so many times. But I've answered even all the questions related to every debunk, everything that's out there. I've answered every question. Mick West couldn't answer any questions whatsoever. In fact, he tried to say something about Kim.com. And then when I addressed him with the fake debunks that he presented, he wouldn't address it. I showed him the The recreation attempt didn't address that. Showed him the evidence around the cloud picture, didn't address that as well. Deflected, ignored, etc. It's just like all the hallmarks of literal disinformation. And this is why these people have no credibility that are out there. Okay. Anyway, here we go, guys. So let's get through this. Yeah, they can't answer even one question of mine, and that's the reason why we're going to stop entertaining them. So we're not going to entertain them anymore. Even if Mick West, like the only thing I'm going to do with Mick West is I'm just going to take what I've already asked him and I'm just going to repost it. Every time he comes and he tries to come at us, every time he tries to address the case, I'm just going to take the link that we already had there and I'm just going to send it back to him and ask him to address the questions. He's still never addressed where he gets the sources of income from. He never addressed if he was told about the VFX debunk ahead of time. He just doesn't answer any relevant questions. He cherry picks every single thing that he tries to address, which shows how incredibly dishonest Mick West is. For my last statement on Mick West, I think he's I think he's the worst person on the planet. I think Mick West is the worst person on the planet. He's 100% dishonest. He's an enemy of humanity, and he's been holding humanity back with his ignorance. And that's just sad, honestly. I hope he gets well, and I hope he gets the help that he needs. Okay. Can we read the text over here? I don't think we really can. That's fine. So you're going to probably be hard for you guys to read the text. Let me zoom this in and see. Okay, yeah, you can kind of read it. Should I go? Okay, it's probably fine. I'm just going to read it out loud to you guys here. One more sip, and then we'll get going. Oh, Ohio Gaming, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Ohio Gaming's been in the chat recently. Been cooking. Love it. Okay. Now, Mick West reminds me of those psychics that take advantage of people. That would like ask you about your dead relatives. I forget what the guy's name is. South Park made fun of him. Like the biggest douche in the universe or whatever. Guy that like just pretends like he's talking to their dead relatives. That's like what Mick West is. He's like a pseudo intellectual that is actually just a complete idiot that has just, because of his ignorance, has just been holding back humanity. The worst people are the ones who think that they know everything and they think they're smarter than everybody else and they like debunk everybody else's stuff. Those are the worst ones. Like Reddit moderators, exactly. Like a Reddit moderator, precisely. Reddit moderators are Redditor with extra words. My channel. And we said we were going to be nicer to the Redditors, guys. So let's be nicer. Okay, let's get through a few paragraphs here and see how we do. Hi, I'm writing this because I never got any sort of debrief or moment to decompress from a job I quit in February of 2018. I worked for an agency that dealt with issues related to non-human intelligence. Sometimes these were referred to as EBEs, or a friend lovingly called them A's. A's? Is that how you say that? Wait, did somebody else just donate? William Bill, thank you very much, man. I had a great doctor's appointment celebrating with you, kicking ass. Awesome, William Bill. I'm glad you're doing well, William Bill. Really am, man. Really well. Really glad you are. Okay. I can't divulge what I did specifically. Most of the information I'm going to discuss is anecdotal information I found out from colleagues. This is because it would be easy to identify me from what my role was, as the information I can say about what I did specifically would be personally identifying. Feel free to dismiss my post as a hoax entirely. I know the right people will believe me. I'm posting this for myself to make peace with the gravity, no pun intended, of the situation. I tried VA and independent therapy, but divulging this sort of information to a hipster trained and active listening probably wouldn't go well. Posting here is a last resort, but I hope I'm welcome to discuss what I can. So right there, a paragraph like that is very credible right off the bat. When somebody makes a post like that saying this is a last resort, that obviously is true because Reddit's the worst place in the world. So if you're posting on Reddit, it's obviously a pretty last resort. Also, the fact that they say, like, hey, just dismiss me if you don't care. Usually when people say, like, hey, dismiss this if you don't care, then it goes to show they're not trying to convince you of something. They're just saying, here's the information, take it or leave it. They even say a lot of this is going to be secondhand. So this is why in my follow-up post, I mentioned that you should take this with a grain of salt. What this is this is a person's personal experience from the people that they've talked to, etc. So, their position and what they said and what they think is real is true from their perspective. But this is why you shouldn't just assume everything in here is accurate to the letter of the word. And that's what my disclaimer afterwards was all about. So hopefully people understand that. Doesn't mean that I believe this is all 100% true. Okay. I'll first talk about my career history, what working for the agency is like, how it functions, and then my general thoughts. If my post makes it past moderation, I'll answer as many questions as I can. I'm unwilling to post an ID privately to moderators or otherwise. People who did that faced consequences. I don't think those people were Reddit leakers specifically, but any act to talk about the information in any meaningful way outside the chain of command ends badly. I'd rather be accused of making things up than risk that, because I simply don't care what people think of me. Hopefully, my post will clear up why. Again, that's also a very credible statement to make there. Like, I'm not risking it. We know the Redditors and Reddit mods have like agents within them. Like, government people are controlling Reddit. There's no question whatsoever. I would never come out and show a Reddit moderator my personal identification and prove who I am. Because again, if you are telling the truth, you don't care what people think. People want to think it's fake or whatever, go nuts. Also, the gravity pun that he made earlier is very interesting because it kind of ties to gravity manipulation. And then the other thing I want to say at this point, this is my opinion. I haven't been told this, but I believe that Salvatore Paez has been gagged. That's just my opinion based on what I know. And I am personally convinced that Salvatore Paez has seen technology that would bend people's minds, similar to what we see in the MH370 videos. I don't know that Salvatore Paez has seen the exact orbs we see in the MH370 videos, but that also would not surprise me. I'm at this point, based on what I've learned from the science, very convinced that Salvatore Paez reached out because we were showing basically his work in the MH370 videos. Okay. Brother Paez. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the Joe Rogan thing after this, guys. So I'm going to talk about Terrence Howard, my opinions on it. If you missed the stream yesterday, or you can go to the stream yesterday. Okay. Sorry, where was I here? Yeah. I'm currently a university professor, not at the university my username would lead you to believe, which is the Hoosiers. I was inspired to write this post when one of my students referred to me as verbatim, a dude who has to know about aliens. Interesting. If only he knew that wasn't even the start of it. I graduated from college in the early 90s with a degree in something I'm passionate about but never used. I started my career as an assistant for a mechanical engineer and at an aerospace contractor I got after working some connections I had. Entry-level contractor jobs are easier to get than you may think. Well, maybe not if you've posted here. I eventually was a project manager overseeing a small team working on experimental aircraft. Over the course of my career in aviation, I worked with 3 different contractors. I was on some of the teams working in autonomous flight in Nevada, among other places. Okay, now it's already getting spicy, chat. This is getting really spicy now. This is exactly how it works. Is you get into the aerospace contractors. You're talking about defense contractors. So this person's talking about Lockheed Martin, Bigelow Aerospace, Northrop Grumman. And I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of those was one of the 3 that he's talking about right here. Boeing Phantom Works, etc. And once you get in, then then you're in. And so I'm guessing this is going to play out where, and I don't remember reading all this. I skipped over some of this, where he ends up moving up. He or she, this could be a female, I don't know. I'll share 2 major things I noticed that looking back could be related to non-human intelligence research. Yeah, also the Nevada thing is interesting too, right? Nevada, that's a Area 51. It was a sort of open secret I was let in on that at some point in the late 90s that if large-scale invasion or threat to the mainland United States were materialized, the U.S. had an ultimate trump card of sorts they would render everything we were working on completely obsolete. Jokes like, well, work smarter, not harder on X, because if it were come down to it, we wouldn't use that technology anyway. Weren't uncommon. I assume this was referring to nukes. Holy shit, chat. Okay, I'm already convinced now. This paragraph is the money paragraph. How did I miss this before? I'm going to read this again. It was sort of an open secret I was let in on at some point in the late 90s that if a large-scale invasion or threat to the mainland were to materialize, they're talking about Russia or China or somebody invading us, the U.S. had an ultimate trump card that would render everything we were working on completely obsolete. Jokes like, well, work smarter, not harder on X, because if it were come down to it, we wouldn't use that technology anyway. He thought they were referring to nukes. They weren't referring to nukes. They were referring to orbs. They were referring to the orbs that can just teleport away a nuke onto somebody else. Complete and total trump card. There it is right there. Yeah, okay, I believe this 100% now. Wow. It's funny that they've had us believing that nukes were the ultimate weapon for decades. And this person's saying that since the 90s, we've had technology that would render nukes obsolete, right? And even the planes and stuff that we're flying is all obsolete. This is absolutely it is a situation in national defense, guys. I can't, like, honestly, I'm starting like to second guess stuff now. This what he just said in that paragraph right there is what makes me second guess what I'm doing. I know that MH370 videos are real, but I really, really, really don't want to be disclosing this technology to our enemies. This is what Salvatore Paez said as a disclaimer in both of our interviews. It makes me question if it's the right thing to do to even disclose it, honestly. But at this point, I kind of have to, just out of my own sense of safety, because if I were to stop disclosing this, then I think the chances that I would get, Iran helicoptered or whatever you want to call it is pretty high. pretty high, sadly. Okay, let's have another drink. We need another drink after all that. Oh, boy. Okay. Guys, we're only like 4 paragraphs in. Later, I spent time doing inspections at various secret facilities due to my standing in particular agencies. If I'm identified, I will definitely lose that standing. So there's that. This was not as exciting as it sounds. It was very technical and boring. I was mostly just a glorified HVAC inspector. I visited a handful of facilities, but 2 of them in particular stood out as there were areas within them I wasn't allowed to access. At the first facility, the scope of my job was to inspect the entire location. One area had its own security, who, after a long discussion, basically told me to kick rocks. My boss wasn't authorized to let me through either. I wrote a scathing report about this incident in my overall assessment of the facility, and my boss erased it from the document entirely. Whoa. The situation at the second facility was similar. I'll admit, I was what I guessed my students call a Karen about it. I knew that whoever was operating those areas was working completely outside of congressional regulation, which, while it does happen in certain sectors, is really not a good look. Once I got the job I'm talking about, I was able to confirm the second facility was related to non-human intelligence research. I was never able to confirm the first was. This is wild, chat. Yeah, so these contractors have their own private security. And I'm led to believe that that's who will off somebody, is that they have their own private security contractors. They're former military, just like you see in the movies. And if they need to like make somebody disappear, then those are the people they go to. So if that happens to me, now you guys know who did it. After a teaching stint, I was offered an interview for a position in my project management roots, again, near where I was living at the time. I wasn't told what I would be working on, which wasn't uncommon. Isn't uncommon. I was excited to go back to work because I had been working on goal-oriented drone swarms in my free time and assumed that's what the interview would be for. Goal-oriented drone swarms are those crazy configurations they make with the drones. Pretty interesting. The interview took place in a skiff in someone's house. Looking back, this was most likely a house that wasn't lived in, but just used for the purpose of interviewing potential hires without giving away the location. Well, okay, that's already sus as hell. Imagine going into someone's house and there's just a skiff there. There's just like a metal box, and you like go in the box and like you're in a Faraday cage. It's like soundproof or something like that. I honestly don't know what these skiffs look like, but that's what I imagine they look like. It's also likely this was the location because the agency doesn't exist in any official capacity. Yes, it has a name. It gets sort of kind of funding. Saying the name would get me killed. Okay. I wish I were exaggerating. I was told the name at the start of the interview, and I had never even heard of it before. I've never even said the name out loud. Wow. Paradoxically, even though the agency doesn't exist, if someone knew the name, it's likely a paper trail exists through publicly available documents. Huh. Interesting. Okay, guys, you guys get the feeling what I'm getting here? It's likely a paper trail exists through publicly available documents. Guys, how much do I want to get myself killed, chat? How much do I want to get myself killed? Guys, I kind of want to find this agency name. What do you guys want to do? We'll do that. Maybe we'll do that later. How would we find it? We'll think about that later. A lot of the information isn't classified because the agency is so secretive. Going through the process to classify it in the first place would reveal it to too many people. Holy shit! Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Do you guys know why this is so important, what we just read right here? Holy shit, chat. I don't think you guys understand yet. Hold on. I'm going to pull something up. Okay, this is relevant. I'm going to reread this again for a second, guys. A lot of the information isn't classified because the agency is so secretive. Going through the process to classify it in the first place would reveal it to too many people. What does this mean? This means that whatever they're working on is not actually classified. It's not classified because to classify it, it would get revealed to too many people. So imagine they figured out, let's say, a weapon. So they are developing a weapon using anti-gravitational technology. It's not even classified because if they even just trying to classify it, it's going to get revealed to too many people. But because it's not part of the government, it's part of a contractor, it's protected from FOIAs anyway. So you don't even need to go through the process of classifying it. Now, let's go take a look at the post I made earlier today about the strange case of Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lin. There was something I haven't been able to piece together that I think we just pieced together right now, chat. Oops. How do I... Remember this, chat. Lin had a security clearance higher than top secret, access to the Navy's most sensitive secrets. Where is it? Where's the post? Is it down this one? I think it's down this way. Here it is. Lin's defense attorney argued if not all of the information that prompted the espionage charge was available publicly. Government lawyers argue that just because classified information is available publicly, it doesn't mean that it's unclassified. Now I'm wondering, based on this, if the information, the weapons that he was talking about weren't technically classified because they were so secret that even classifying them would reveal it to too many people. And then they classified it after the fact. And so what they did, I think, afterwards, like imagine the orbs we see in the MH370 videos. Imagine those orbs are not even classified because they're part of a defense contractor project. And then Lynn knew about it. And so Lynn talked about it. So Lynn talks about it and says it's not classified. And the government comes back and says just because it's not technically wasn't classified or it was available publicly, that it doesn't mean that you can talk about it. And then they retroactively classify it because they had to classify it in order for it to like go to the court and what have you. That could explain, because this back and forth is so weird. Why would Lynn be getting 9 years in prison after a plea deal and his lawyer's like, oh, it's all available publicly? Maybe because the information is available publicly. It's not just the videos, but the technology is what he was talking about, the weapons. Now, it's speculative. I'm speculating there, but kind of makes sense in light of what we're just seeing right here and what this person's talking about. And this is why they made this person delete this, or if they could have just deleted this person in general. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if the government has access to Reddit and they can just straight up delete posts and people. In fact, I'm pretty sure they can, because that's what they did to EBO Scientist. And I hope EBO Scientist as well. Cheers, guys. Pretty wild. Somebody in the chat, Randolph Rush, says Boeing and others do not classify or patent because it would expose the research. Yeah. Wow. Is that how they're able to hide it? They just don't even classify it or patent it? This is why the debunkers were coming and saying, oh, it would be classified top secret. It might not be classified at all. And then they just throw a classification on it when they need to charge somebody with it. Wow. Wow. Guys, I'm actually starting to get a little bit scared. Like, I know I said I don't give any fucks, but like, we're not just right over the target right now. We are like bombing the target and they are shooting back desperately. Like, this is wild, guys. You think you want to know why they planted a cloud picture on the internet? This is why. This is why they planted a cloud picture on the internet. Because we are exposing the most top secret stuff. Anyway, we're going to keep going. Let's see. Which one are we looking at? Okay. In past interviews, particularly for the inspection job, I could refer to specific colleagues, facilities I worked at, or contractors I was in good standing with to play the unusual interview game. In this interview, I was treated like a brand new hire. While I already offended about how I was being treated, the interview started grilling me about my love for Star Trek and said that theatrics wouldn't fly in the position I was being interviewed for. Looking back, I should have never accepted the job, but the allure of working on swarms was too great. So you imagine you go to an interview and like you have all this experience and then they just start being super hostile to you. Yeah, look in the big picture. This is one portion of a program they sink trillions into. Yeah. The Star Trek reference is interesting. Very interesting reference to Star Trek, chat. The first office I worked at was an office building that didn't stand out in any way at all. So, okay, this part too I wanted to mention. The first office I worked at was an office building that didn't stand out in any way at all. When we interviewed Eric Hecker mentioned that the building they take you into just looks like a normal office building. Like you might just like, go get your teeth cleaned at the dentist, I believe our neighbors in the office park were a fashion studio and a dentist. There you go. There you go. Literally dentist right there. I didn't even read all of this, chat. Like this is like me reading it for the first time. I believe our neighbors in the office park were a fashion studio and a dentist, among others. The difference was our building had 24/7 armed security. The first few days were heavy paperwork and onboarding. One of my old bosses called me on an office phone to talk to me before I was officially onboarded. As a management nerd, the biggest challenge of working for this agency is that it was a paperless office. Paperless office? It has own highly sophisticated intranet with hundreds of archival documents. Wow. Yeah, okay. I see why I was told this is real. This is definitely real. Yeah, we'll look at the videos right after this, guys. This is sketchy, guys. Because this is how I've always imagined it plays out, right? They have their own intranet that's not even connected to the outside internet. And they've got their own documents. This is where the papers, like the Ning Li stuff, is probably being stored. So all the papers, no, don't hack into this, guys. I'm serious. I'm not even joking. Do not hack into this. That is how you'll go to prison. At best. At best, you go to prison. This is where they store all these scientific papers that like the public just doesn't get to see. So if you want to find the inertial mass reduction papers and stuff like that, that's where they're hidden. Because then these people read that and they could talk about it, but they'll go to jail or something. People don't know what intranet is. Guys, intranet is just an internal network. It's an internal network. So when you go into the building, you're on that network, but that network can't leave the area. This is also probably why Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lin did a screen recording. You can't get this stuff out. So the screen recording, and it's really even a question of how he got the drone video out. Because the drone video doesn't look like a screen recording. But they took a screen recording because you don't have, like, he's logged in where only a very small number of people have access to these networks. Pretty wild. Yeah, some of y'all are just asking for some stuff, man. And people ask me, why don't I go try to find Edward C. Lin? Because I don't want to get fucking killed, guys. Can I put it as bluntly as possible? Ashton, why don't you go try to find Edward C. Lin? A, I don't want to get killed. B, I don't want him to get killed. Okay, where is it? The implication was that unless it absolutely had to be saved, to never, ever write anything down. I remember an early colleague telling me a Gantt chart is a great way to get fired. This was a challenge at first. Remembering all the information with no documentation is something I'm not particularly built for, especially when the information is about non-human intelligence. Yeah, chat is not suicidal, but like you guys got to realize, like you guys are not protected. I'm protected because I have 130,000 followers, and it's going to be sus if I disappear. But they could make me disappear. Like if you guys don't believe they could, they absolutely could make me disappear, and they would convince all you guys that it was natural or something like that. That's the reason why I say I would never harm myself like once a week. Like I'm not messing around. I'm not joking around with people. I'm not LARPing. I'm literally need to say it like once a week so that there's no doubt. I haven't had anything overtly weird happen to me yet, but let's just keep it that way as long as possible. So part of the reason, too, why they can't come after me overtly is the same reason why they don't classify the weapons. The more people you get involved in this, the more the information spills out. This is why AARO is ghosting me, because they just have to probably tell the AARO people, like, don't talk to that guy anymore. Because the more people that look into the evidence that I'm showing, the more people that are going to get woken up, the more people they have to try to keep quiet. That's the beauty of talking about it, because the more you talk about it, it's so compartmentalized that even if they were to try to silence people, then the more they silence people, the more the information gets out. The more people they have to include in the cover up, the more it gets out. Right? Pretty wild. Man, this might be one of the most important whistleblower leaks I've ever read. This is bigger than the EBO scientist one already. Because it tells us how everything operates. Right? This is why they banned it. This is why they made this person deleted, or they deleted this person inadvertently. Later, I worked at a facility within a facility, just like the one I had tried to inspect. It stored a craft. Being near the craft for extended periods of time is extremely dangerous. How did I not read all this, chat? Especially if it is being experimented on with power. I didn't observe any injuries to anyone while I was there, but all sorts of long-term nasty injuries were relayed to me through rumors and warnings. The craft was shaped like a dedrill without a handle. What the hell is a dedrill, chat? Is this even a real word? Chat, these are made-up words. Oh, a dedrill, like the... Okay. Yeah, okay. That is like the Hebrew thing where you spin it. Dreidel. That's what it is. It's dreidel. Dreidel, I shall play. Okay, yeah. Guys, I went to Jewish preschool, so I know like a little bit of Hebrew weirdly. So it's shaped like a dreidel. So it's kind of like a square with a little rounded bottom on it. Dreidel. Dreidel, I should play. Okay, so it's like a dreidel without the handle. Well, that's a weird shape. So the craft was like a box with like a rounded bottom. And here's another interesting thing here is that this checks out right here. Being near the craft for extended periods of time is extremely dangerous because it's anti-gravitational technology. Gravity technology is bending space-time. So this is the same problem you're going to have where you experience Havana syndrome. So this is explaining Havana syndrome right here. Man, I'm actually getting scared talking about this. Like I'm scared for this person, actually. So, and I will say this for people who are listening. So this is what I'll say this is the only thing I'm going to say to corroborate anything that I've said about this document. I did ask if this person is okay. And I was told this person is not unalived. So hopefully they're okay. Hopefully I'm not putting them at risk by talking about this. Okay. Where's the dreidel part? There was a large exterior piece that went missing when it was recovered. The theory is it acted as a stabilizer, although some argue it was a crude weapon. It sat in a custom hydraulic rig that could be used to rotate it into all sorts of different positions. Kind of like those Aerotrim astronaut training balls where they spin you around. Oh, okay. So that's like the Aerotrim thing he's talking about or she's talking about. I don't know. So imagine this martini stick thing here I have, right? And you've got balls on either end and it spins around like this. Or here, I'll do it like this, where you can see like this. They spin you around like that. That's what the person's explaining. And if I say he, it doesn't, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. I just know that supposedly this is true. The rig was so large and extensive that I spent a few weeks thinking it was part of the craft before someone told me otherwise. Oh, I wasn't on the team that got to use the rotation rig. Typically, the craft would held on its side in the rig for easier storage. Its weight just naturally sat in that way, although it was intended to be flown vertically. What? I'm not really sure I'm like visualizing what they're talking about here, but it sounds like UFO to me, right? UFO. The shape was directly informed by its purpose. Every shape is custom molded in a metallic material that would revolutionize the way we travel if we had it. Guys, okay, if you guys have been following along, this right here is 4chan Leaker. So 4chan Leaker mentioned the idea that there's these underwater bases that are producing UFOs to spec. The shape was directly informed by its purpose. Every shape is custom molded in a metallic material that would revolutionize the way we traveled if we had it. Huh. Now I'm starting to get creeped out, guys. Yeah, let's just say, I want to say this is for entertainment purposes only. We're just LARPing right now. Like, actually, now I'm kind of scared. I kind of want to just like pretend like this is a LARP right now. Like if my X post gets deleted, guys, like I might just go off the internet for a little while, just to let the heat die down. I don't think Elon's gonna let them delete my X post though. In following the topic has as much as I can manage. In following the topic as much as I can manage to, I've seen some other people mention the material. There were some material scientists that had been working there for decades. I never got to go inside the craft. It was guarded 24/7. Boy, did I want to go look. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, we're reading fan fiction here, guys. This is Star Trek fan fiction. Yeah, that's it. That's the thing. It just happens to 100% coincide with everything we've been researching, all the science we've been researching, and everything that we've been exposing. Yep, that's just... I love fan fiction, guys. Me too. I love it. The agency goes out of its way to hire individuals who have little interest in working in this space at all. They recruit particularly out of BYU, although you have to have a contract or a government career for around a decade to be considered for an interview. Published papers don't hurt. When I worked at the second facility, the sorts of people that were there were frustrating to interact with because my initial reaction to working in that facility was extreme excitement, and it wasn't shared. I believe this is particularly responsible for the stagnation, high turnover rates, and compartmentalization. I quickly learned who to trust and gained some enormous that helped my work. I don't know what that means. Part of why I'm being secretive about my ID is because the turnover rate results in a sort of summer camp work environment. It's easy to point to classes of people in various non-leadership positions that were all hired, fired, or quit at similar times. If I said when I started, ended, and where I worked, I'd easily be identified because there are so few people that match my description. Leadership has been there forever. No, not literally. So there is making a joke about potentially like being able to stop the aging process, which is a little bit scary. Like, why are they making a joke about people being like literally living forever? Makes you wonder, right? The part about how like the people that work there is just like a boring, mundane job for them, that scares me. That actually freaks me out because this is how it's been compartmentalized and kept secret. Is that like the amount of people like this person who wants it to come out is very small. The amount of people willing to take this risk is very small. Most of the people are just like immortal lizard people. Yeah, just people that like are, automatons, robots. They're just coming in and out. And it's like, yeah, whatever. I'm working on anti-gravity research today. All good. No big deal. And why this shouldn't surprise anyone. Just look at Redditors in general. People love being brainwashed. Yeah, this is a wild, wild thing, huh? Okay, guys, it's going to get creepier, I think. Man, I didn't know we were going to have like a horror story tonight. This is scary. The agency is divided up into several wings, not unlike the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. I'm not insinuating they're a shadow government, but the wings check and balance each other in a way that a government is at least designed to. These wings include mechanical engineering, biological research, weapons research, computer science, tracking, and what I'll call anthropology. What I'll call crash recovery, because that's what colleagues who are planning to come forward will call it, and security. I'll list some information about each. There are definitely more wings that I don't know about. So remember the 4chan leaker said that they were in crash recovery. The 4chan leaker corroborates everything we're reading here as well. The 4chan leaker said this is exactly how it's set up, just like this. And if you're in the crash recovery program, like Michael Herrera might have been in like a crash recovery program, if you guys believe his story, which I'm not sure I do, but that probably would corroborate this. The king of fiction. Remember, we got to cover Amy and all the other stuff. Yeah, I talked about Amy's stuff a little bit today, but I'll put it on here as well. How did Ashton get this letter? So this letter was posted on Reddit. It was deleted, and I talked to a source that corroborated that this letter is legit. This was not somebody LARPing. But you should still take it with some grain of salt. Doesn't mean that every detail is real. It just means that the person is who they say they are. It's not somebody making this up. I mean, by and large. And the more I read it now, the more I'm convinced. I initially was skeptical to even look at this and give it a lot of credit. But now the thing that intrigues me is how the program works. Because this is how it works. That part I'm sure they're not making up. Yeah, my sources are legit. I'm not going to post something like this and say what I said unless I was very certain. I'm not willing to talk about my sources or my methods, but what I'll say is we just scooped the entire UFO community on this report. We scooped Ross Coulthard, Jeremy Corbell, all these other douchebags out there, all the UFO community douchebags. They got scooped. My sources are better than probably all of theirs. Okay. Here we go. What's unique is the subgroups exist all as a part of different parent government organizations and are headquartered where their parent agencies are. For example, the tracking wing is sort of kind of embedded as R&D in NORAD. That makes sense. So tracking, like that's going to be where you're going to have your satellite stuff, your radar stuff. Guys, there's no chance they didn't track MH370. 0% chance. We 100% know exactly where MH370 went. There's just no fucking chance. This is a simplification of the actual paperwork involved. It's honestly complicated, and I don't know much about how it works. I do know that this is how they maintain funding, even when the parent agency goes completely dark for stretches of time. It's worth mentioning that these departments employ at most 50 people each. It's typically much lower than that. This is why we're all pushing for whistleblower protection. It's not hard to identify us because there are so few of us in the first place. Wow. So it really is just dozens of people. I wonder if Edward C. Lynn was one of these guys. Holy shit. What if Edward C. Lynn was one of these guys? Chat, he was on one of the most secretive spy plane programs ever. What if Edward C. Lynn was connected to one of these programs? What if he was one of these programs, guys? Yeah, Vetted did probably cover this, but Vetted probably didn't know that it was legit. Man. Yeah, this is starting to get pretty scary, guys. I can't believe I didn't look at this harder before. Yeah, all the rest of the UFO community is just fighting with each other about bullshit that doesn't matter, and we're just like out here like doing real disclosure. I love it. The fact I will say that I do think it's just fucking hilarious that I came in out of nowhere and now we're just like pushing disclosure harder than anybody has ever pushed disclosure ever. And I possibly have better sources than the rest of these people have. Like, I just think it's just too funny to me, man. You gotta realize, like, I'm just a normal dude before all this, just a completely normal guy, and somehow I'm just now in the middle of fucking disclosure, and we're just like pushing the envelope so hard that it actually starting to scare me a little bit. None of this could ever be possible without the MH370 videos being real, by the way, guys. No way. No way. I mean, we're talking about literally rewriting the laws of physics, man. Mechanical engineering is exactly what it sounds like. It's the most extensive, the oldest, and the most compartmentalized. We have crashed craft in various states of complete. We had a recovered craft that worked almost perfectly that was shot down by ourselves. I saw this coming. It's part of why I quit. There's a lot of information about this wing in the public sphere. Part of their job is to determine what each shape of the craft is used for. This is an important job because we're unsure of the non-human intelligence intentions. If we discover their designs or intend to hurt us, action will have to be taken. I don't know what that means in practice, but it's what the engineers mostly study. Consider this lecture around the 10-minute mark about the differing characteristics of an F-22 versus a passenger plane. Now imagine trying to figure out the purpose of a passenger plane versus the F-22. Since we're humans, and those are human designs, eventually a team could figure it out. It's not as easy as when the designs aren't for us or purposes we fully understand. Triangles are the most impressive design, and we don't have one. It's likely China does. Leadership is mad about that. This team discovered a long time ago that the reason why the craft appears so bright to us humans is because it's not really light, but rather a product of the crazy amounts of power these craft require. Sort of like smoke coming out of an exhaust pipe. Well, this is wild, chat. This is wild. So I already know what he's talking about right here. And Serpo, you're going to get banned, buddy. I gave you a lot of opportunities, man. All you had to do was not be a dickhead, so you're getting banned. But while that's going on, they're talking about Bob Lazar here, and they're talking about the 4chan leaker as well. Because those are the ones that are in the public sphere, right? pop out the chat here. Where's the chat? So that's what they're talking about here when they're talking about the stuff being in the public realm. They're talking about like Bob Lazar. This very closely matches Bob Lazar's explanation of the different crafts, and then the same thing about the different shapes and stuff like that as well. It's interesting because Dave Rossi, when he went on the Tim Pool podcast with me, talked about the shapes and which shapes are more simple and more complicated, where triangles apparently are one of the more complicated ones, right? So anyway, I think that's pretty interesting. Yes, I'm going to block this guy real quick. Serpo Pro. Oh yeah, so he's like a brand new account too. The problem is a lot of these trolls and stuff. So he's blocked. A lot of these trolls I deal with, like they keep making new accounts. So like if you are replying and you are in any way trolling at all in my replies, and I see that you have 0 followers, you're gonna get blocked immediately. Immediately block. I means I know you're a Redditor. I know you're a troll. I know you're a CIA piece of shit or whatever. You're gonna get blocked right away. I don't really care. Let's move on. I don't want to deal with the trolls. Okay. Biology is something I personally suck at, even at a high school level. I can say that NHI look like the aliens from Close Encounters. As far as I know, we never have one alive. My source who told me this was unsure if it was true or not. I didn't learn much about this wing. It's the most secretive. I do know its headquarters is hidden in almost plain sight. I still feel like the guy who told me where it is has to be lying because it was just too obvious. There are bodies stored in other locations apart from their main headquarters. So this is really interesting because this is similar to the EBO scientist, guys. So the EBO scientist as well mentioned that it's like basically just hidden in plain sight, and that the area where they hide the bodies is like not even the highest level of biohazard level. Like there's like different levels of biohazards, and they were saying that the one where they store the bodies isn't even the highest level, which is pretty wild. If you guys are in the Discord, somebody posted a link to this in the Discord. That's how I was able to get the wording out there, guys. You can troll the trolls, just don't troll me, guys. And if you don't have 0 followers, then it's less likely. But like a lot of these guys just keep making new accounts because I keep blocking them. And so they just keep making new accounts over and over and over and over and over again, and I just keep blocking them. So if you're a 0 follower or you have like less than 10 followers and you are in any way, shape, or form trolling me, you're going to get blocked immediately. I really have no patience for it. Weapon research is a large wing and it's fairly new. It was absorbed by the Space Force when the Space Force was created. Okay, so this right here is like, whoa. The weapon research is a large wing and it's fairly new. It was absorbed by the Space Force when the Space Force was created. So this is what I had already assumed, was that Space Force was created. You don't just make a new wing of the military for no reason. So Space Force was potentially created because the technology just got too out of control, and we needed to have a whole branch of the military to support it. And who was the person that started Space Force? Donald Trump and Joseph F. Dunford. The same Joseph F. Dunford who was supposedly showed the MH370 videos and didn't laugh at them. Wow. That's wild. Frustration with the Space Force as a whole is part of why I left shortly before it started. I don't know much about it. It has a high turnover rate and is a dangerous job to work in. People were injured and compensated by a large private aerospace contractor instead of the USG. Its main job is to strap a nuke onto a reverse-engineered craft and just see what the hell happens. Well, that's scary. Here's another really interesting thing. There were rumors that Salvatore Pais had worked for the Space Force. And so in my first interview with him, I asked him, do you work for the Space Force or do you work for the Navy? And he was like very standoffish. He was like, well, I work for the Navy. I was like, whoa, that's a weird answer, man. So the question is like, do these people have like stints with the Space Force when they see the crazy technology? Space Force is definitely the area. If you want to see some crazy shit, that's where I would go. I would go to Space Force. Computer science is or was, as it may have been moved after I left, headquartered at a facility in my home state. So the headquarters for the various wings are all spread out as well. That's very interesting. This is definitely an interesting live stream. This is rare because most of the other wings are within stone's throw of DC or Nevada. Huh. I can see why they deleted this. They're giving away a lot of information here. This is mostly based around researching the craft's navigation system. The navigation in every craft is the same. The craft uses a system that originally befuddled generations of researchers, but it's essentially a 3D Ditch-Kistra algorithm. I got no idea what that means, chat. I'm guessing this is some kind of like the same thing that they use for like Tesla autopilot, presumably. If anyone knows what a Ditch-Kistra system is, let me know. Yeah, we're drinking martinis tonight, chat. Guys, for the people who say, can we verify the info? Yeah. I mean, I verified that the source is legit. I can't advocate for every piece of information we're reading. So that's where we have to use our own discernment in terms of what we think checks out, what corroborates with the information that we've learned independently. And that's how these things go, right? Like the person said, they can't come out and they need whistleblower protection. This is dangerous. Ditch-Kistra algorithm for finding the shortest path between nodes in a weighted graph, which may represent, for example, road networks. Wow, that's cool. Okay. It finds points around the craft and chooses the most efficient route through space-time to get to that point. Some of the parameters it uses to gauge efficiency are totally unknown to us and are a serious point of contention. It's not autonomy, but rather obstacle avoidance, not unlike what you would see in a self-driving car. There you go. But the self-driving car could go through the air, space, and water without worrying what medium it is. There's your transmedium craft right there. Additionally, the algo accounts for the craft's place in time. Well, that's fucking weird. What? Additionally, the algo accounts for the craft's place in time. Okay. So I have not dug into the whole time aspect very much, but there's definitely a question of like how time travel works with respect to this. Is there a way I can do? Hold on. Oh, nice. Okay, guys. Oh, you ready? Watch this. Why does it take? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I've got it set now. Oh, yes. I wish I'm gonna get Chick-fil-A girl set up on there as well for us, so I can just flip Chick-fil-A girl on when we need to. I don't think that this means that the craft time travel in a way we think they can, but rather go so fast that they experience dilation and can hit objects in the future and potentially past at their target destination. It's possible they do this on purpose sometimes. I don't know much about the internal programming of the computer or how it actually does any of this. There are a few senior scientists that hold that information dear. One of them jokingly refers to it as AC, as in C, for non-human intelligence. I don't get it. I know that he doesn't work with a computer, only a pad of paper and a pen. Yeah, so that is wild, guys, because yes, there's a time dilation effect here, right? So we know there is, God, I mean, this is right on the money because you can time dilate into the future. So the question is, when you show up, what's going to be there when you arrive? So what they're saying here is it's like predicting the movements of objects in space and time in a way where if you show up 1,000 years in the future, you got to know that there's not going to be a wall there when you show up. So let's say that you imagine that you are going to go through a wormhole and you're going to show up in the Alpha Centauri 4 light years away. Well, what happens when you get there in 4 years and now there's a building where you were supposed to show up? It's like in X-Men Nightcrawler when he's teleporting, he has to be careful not to teleport into a wall. That's the same idea here as well, is that when you time dilate to the future, if you go the speed of light and you show up somewhere, you're going to show up in the future. But for you, it's going to look like it's instantaneous. This is wild. I mean, this seems very credible to me in terms of the propulsion and the computer science side of this. But again, I don't know. Let's just pretend this is a fan fiction, guys. Fan fiction. If the government's watching, we're just doing fan fiction here. We're enjoying some Star Trek fanfic. Although the algo is extremely effective, nuclear explosions and experiments somehow interfere with this navigation. Craft particularly avoid Diablo Canyon. Even if we put something they really want there, they mostly avoid previous crash sites as well. More on crashes later. So this part's, we know why nuclear explosions knock it out. So we've already figured that part out. We don't need any help on that. The reason why nuclear explosions knock it out is the EMP, and the EMP is going to take out their flight mechanics because they're using electrogravitics and scalar potentials. And it's essentially the equivalent of like knocking, imagine riding on the wave and you just knock the wave out underneath them. That's why it's going to cause them to crash. So EMPs are the reason why it's going to take out, like the same way where you can just shoot a radar beam. Like we could shoot a radar beam at a UFO and it's going to knock it out of the sky. People think that these UFOs are invincible because their technology is so advanced, but it's very fragile as well. Like you hit it with the right thing, like it may be invincible to like a missile. Like a missile might not be able to take it down, but you can just shoot an electromagnetic beam at it and it's going to knock it out of the sky because, they're just surfing basically. Pretty wild, huh? Do I think that Jet Li is involved in the disappearance of MH370? What? I don't know. Is he? Okay. If you guys know anything about Diablo Canyon, maybe we can look at that later on. Yeah, I'll put a Discord invite link in here as well. The Discord has been growing pretty rapidly. So I can't keep up with the chats in the Discord because there's like too many of you guys now. But I'm doing my best. But again, please, no trolling. I had to ban somebody yesterday for trolling in the Discord. No trolling in the Discord, guys. There's an invite if you want it. Okay. Let's keep going. Where are we at? Speaking of avoidance tracking, like I mentioned, is or was part of NORAD. The NHI deploy craft of various shapes and sizes all the time. I don't want to claim that they have advanced cloaking techniques, but from what I've heard, the tracking department basically is an eternal game of cat and mouse. They don't have adequate technology to track the transmedium craft. All I would say on a record is NHI know we can track them and know how to avoid us. Okay. They usually avoid detection by going underwater, especially in the case of particularly large, by human measurement, enormous craft. It's interesting that historical UFO sightings mimic the design of buildings and vehicles of that time period. It's interesting that historical UFO designs mimic the design of buildings and vehicles of that time period. Whether this was just some humans not being able to reference what the designs looked like or a form of mimicry is anyone's guess. Someone in leadership knows the answer. I don't. The part about them going underwater is really interesting. Diablo Canyon is now the only operational nuclear plant in California, as well as the state's largest single power station. Wait, is that the one outside of Long Beach? No, it's okay. That's up north. Weird. Okay. Huh. They avoid that, huh? Supposedly. Weird. Jet Li caused MH370, guys. Guys, I don't know. We're gonna talk more about this after, but it's kind of blowing my mind. There's a lot of corroborating information here. A lot. Okay, so I skipped some of this. Okay, yeah. It's important to note that not everybody at NORAD was part of the tracking team, but the tracking team is embedded in NORAD and interfaces with them on a minute-by-minute basis. This leads to scenarios where NORAD will report an object and the tracking team will silently acknowledge, but give no explanation. This led to a catastrophic incident that happened after I left, but knew about from a colleague. Supposedly, tracking is being moved to the Space Force to clear up these miscommunications. So this is another reason why you develop Space Force, right? You need to have a compartmentalized tracking program for UFOs. If I were working there, I probably would be working on that onboarding process. NORAD was moved to Cheney, whatever, not only to protect from a foreign adversary, but also because the facility is uniquely equipped to track NHI craft. Okay, well now we're Googling that. The Cheney Mountain Complex. Oh, wow. This is the one with the giant dome entry. Okay, guys. Feels like we are definitely putting ourselves at risk here. Is there a map of this? Where is this? Colorado Springs, huh? Where is it? This is it right here. Oh, it's in the mountains here. Huh. I'm getting like a weird feeling. Like, I'm getting a weird feeling about this. Like my spider sense is going off, my danger sense. Anyway, we're gonna keep going. The wing I called anthropology is the weirdest one by far. It focuses on a few different things. They originally studied NHI's intentions and culture, if it's possible to call it that. The reports I read from this early research changed the way I see the world. Okay. The reason why this is weird is, remember, EBO scientist says that he was given something about the belief system of the non-human intelligence, and he said that they believe that the bodies are containers for the soul and something like that. Okay. Oh boy, chat. It's getting dark in here, chat. Anthropology and computer science were at one point decompartmentalized to study how the non-human intelligence interact with the craft. The NHI are linked to their craft in a way that borders on biological. The actual way they interface with the components of the craft is not as sophisticated. Take this video. Although it's an immature video, the way he interfaces with the piston that moves the gas pedal is similar, albeit much simpler than the way the NHI interact with their craft. They send signals using their body to systems that control the craft. It's hypothesized that they can prefer to control the craft remotely, but I'm not sure if we were really researching this. Well, that's fucking weird, chat. That's weird, man. This is the part where, like, I'm not sure I'm all in on, but this is still pretty goddamn creepy. Okay, a few more paragraphs. Take note that if the driver of a jerry-rigged death trap in the video panics, the car would accelerate due to the heightened brain activity. When people wonder how a super intelligent being can crash, this is part of the answer. In conjunction with the navigation system malfunctioning, which I think is what we described. I personally don't think that the NHI feels stress as we do. But if they heighten their activity and overrode the pathfinding system instead of letting it do its job, there could be an accident. This does make you wonder, if it's like a biological AI. God damn. Are we going to have to be interfacing with computers sooner than I thought? And Adrian Dittman would love this conversation, guys. If you don't know Adrian Dittman, he's the guy that sounds exactly like Elon Musk, and he loves interfacing with computers. He like post-humanism. He would love this. Maybe Adrian Dittman really is just like AI Elon Musk. Maybe it really is. Maybe that's like how it plays out. Huh. Okay. A smaller subset of this wing focuses on how humans can interface with the craft they are currently in the sky. That are currently in the sky. I'm sorry. What? A smaller subset of this wing focuses on how humans can interface with craft that are currently in the sky. If you see an image of a large disc above a gas station in the snow, it was someone in this department summoning a craft, not unlike how cheap RC car controllers can interface with each other when used at the same time. Some people are better suited to interfere with NHI craft than others. We're not sure why. Okay, I'm just going to pretend like that's not real. On somewhat comedic note, one colleague was harshly punished for using this research to encounter NHI craft at a party. There was an outdoor bonfire, alcohol, and questions about what she did for work. She wasn't killed or anything, just called a dumbass and told to never, ever do that again. This does kind of link to the idea of CE5 and Chris Bledsoe or whatever, summoning orbs and shit. I'm going to pass on that. Some people in this, honestly, maybe I will go outside and summon some orbs after this. Guys, I'm going to go summon some orbs after the stream. Some people in this department are BYU graduates who believe they are directly interfacing with what we recorded in the Bible as angels. There's even a smaller subset of this wing that focus on non-human intelligence communicating with humans. All I know about them is that they did the work at some juncture, but probably have other jobs now. This is the part where it's too far in the weeds for me personally. This is too much. Like, I believe that we can teleport an aircraft, and I'm very skeptical here. Crash recovery probably has the most people involved. It's split among several parent orgs, but funding is funneled away from it and to other departments when there's little activity. This is common among the entire agency as funding and staff get balanced between different wings based on progress or lack thereof. Most of the crash recovery staff are staff from tracking and security that are involved in crash recovery. It's also made up of members of all of our favorite three-letter agencies. Huh. Crash recovery overall structure was referred to as a volunteer fire department. It's typically some people playing pool and watching movies, but when the need arises, all hands on deck from the current staff and on-call members. Okay, I'm actually pretty sure that Bob Lazar is legit now. If this person's legit, then Bob Lazar is legit. Because people didn't understand, like, why would they pull some random guy like Bob Lazar? And the answer is because the CNN brain people think that they're recruiting from MIT or whatever. No. They're not recruiting based on what your fucking what Ivy League school you went to. They don't give a shit about that. They care not. They're recruiting based on your psychological profile, what kind of person you are. Your formal education means literally nothing to these people. That's the part where I don't think people realize, like, people that are full CNN brains, they think that it's all about, I went to MIT, I went to Harvard, I went to, Stanford. That shit is that maybe that gets you somewhere in politics. When it comes to these type of people, these people aren't messing around. They know that shit means nothing at all. Yeah, they want to know what your IQ is. They want to know how smart you are. They want to know what your emotional intelligence is. They want to know, are you going to freak the fuck out when you see some crazy ass shit? That's what they want to know about. Crashes are exceedingly rare. Also, they want to know if you're going to shut the hell up when you disappear as well. And make sure you're not going to talk, by the way. Yeah, I'll post a Discord link one more time for you guys. Damn, this is wild, chat. This is a lot weirder than I thought this was going to be. I did not think this was going to be that crazy. Crashes are exceedingly rare. The number of crashes goes down exponentially because they learn to avoid the causes of the crash. When they crash, they make no effort to retrieve the debris, save for one instance. I personally believe some of the crashes weren't crashes, but were NHI parking a vehicle for us because there were no bodies recovered and the craft was in perfect shape. I wonder about the whole Las Vegas aliens kid now, too. Huh. And some of this, you can tell this is coming from secondhand information. Like this stuff here with this crash retrieval, this person was not in the crash retrieval program. You can just tell based on the way they're talking about it. This is how they heard it from other people that were probably part of the crash retrieval program. If I had to guess at this person's background, since we know they're in engineering, they were probably in like the mechanical, whatever the mechanical maintenance part of this program was. And that they learned about the other ones because of the background. Like they from their friends and stuff like that. Yeah, this whole part about the AC thing is pretty weird. I don't know what that means. Security, to put it mildly, are terrifying. Imagine the very best of the SEALs, NSA, and Secret Service all working together. They are short-staffed, but that staff is not only elite, but dedicated. Their numero uno rule is that people that mention their agency name are killed. Okay. I just want to say that I'm not suicidal in any way, shape, or form, and that if I were to get disappeared, you should presume that it's probably the SEALs, NSA, or Secret Service, as well as private defense contractors that took me out. Oh boy, this is getting dark, guys. It is not a question, and it happened during my time. Here's something else I've never revealed that I'm going to reveal right now. I've heard this as well from sources that I trust as well, that this is not a joke, that, yeah, if you cross the line, then you're done. You'll hear more and more about them as news. I mean, and just for the record, that's why I continually say that I'm not suicidal as well, like every week. You'll hear more about them as news, and the Retaliation Dave comes out. What the fuck's the Retaliation Dave? You hear more about them in the news, and as the Retaliation Dave comes out. Does anyone know what this means? I wasn't directly interviewed by him, but I know several people who were. The security team figured it out quickly, and you could say they aren't his fans. They constantly monitor all discussions about the topic, but rarely act in real life unless absolutely necessary. They staff facilities like the second one I worked. They staff facilities like the second one I worked at. This team is also actively engages in disinformation, gaslighting, and other similar campaigns. Their goal is to keep the U.S.'s secrets about this tech secret because other countries are close to breakthroughs. They also conduct counter intel on what other countries know and counter intel about what they know about what we know. Not to sound crazy, but the security team will see this at some point or another. So a friendly hello to them. Can't touch this. Okay, so we now know 100% that we've been getting monitored. Now, the good news is I've been under the impression since the middle of August of last year that I've been having every single thing I say and do be monitored. So that's fun. But now we know, no doubt whatsoever, that not only have we been getting monitored, but that they are most likely helping to coordinate some of the disinformation campaigns against the investigation. Wouldn't surprise me at all at this point. We are definitely on the radar with what we've been revealing. We've been revealing all their secrets. So this team that they're talking about right here, this team is absolutely trying to make the MH370 videos go away. Like, we are exposing the technology to the world 100%. And it wouldn't surprise me if they are part of the people that are finding the debunks. Like, you guys wonder how the one-day-old Reddit accounts are finding the debunks, guys. This is how they're finding them. Like what we see right here. This is how they're finding one-day-old debunk accounts. These are the people pushing the one-day-old Reddit accounts with the debunks on them to try to make stuff disappear on social media. It's extremely effective. Because then you have total idiots like the debunkers, and they pick it up and they run with it, and they go, what does it matter that a one-day-old Reddit account found a picture on of clouds? It's literally impossible for someone to have found, right? This is how it operates. You're looking at it right here. This is why they deleted this person's post. And like the dumbasses out there probably think that this is impossible and this can't be done. It's actually trivially easy to run these kinds of gaslighting smear campaigns. This is also what they're trying to run against me to try to discredit me as well. Same thing, right? Because they think, well, we don't need to make the MH370 videos go away, just discredit the person. Now, the good news is that I have a full security clearance, so I went through a background check. So this is why I was one of the people that chose to come out with this, because it's very difficult to discredit me. You have to use like personal attacks and find some skeleton, and I don't really have any skeletons in my closet. So good luck, bitches. Good luck, bitches. Okay. I have a hunch that the current state of public-facing task forces are actually their own wing within security. A friend of mine texted me once, Sean Kirkpatrick, you can get your ass kicked. What? Don't confuse these public-facing task forces with the work Dave and co are doing. Dave is the real deal. I still don't know who Retaliation Dave is. Sounds like a badass, though. Yeah, we need someone to write a song about the disinformation task force. We just need a meme on these guys too, man. Let's meme on the Navy SEALs and the NSA and the Secret Service and all these people that are trying to hide the videos. Let's just meme all over these bitches. Honestly, I wouldn't even care if I get taken out. If we just get the meme on them once, it'll be 100% worth it. Fucking thug life, baby. I should mention that leadership is kind of its own wing. It's not on paper, but they operate above all other departments. Leadership is made up of managers who can pay close attention to each wing. They discuss info they know and bring up contradictions to upper managers. It looks like Lulu wants to be picked up. I don't know how far this chain goes up. I reported it to someone who reported to someone. I believe it goes higher than that. I have no idea who is at the top or what their credentials are. I suspect that they're in the private sector with their bankroll disguised as R&D for government contracts. Leadership honestly made the right choices with the information they had, at least when I was there. Some bad people started to get in charge and changed the way things worked among middle managers and individual teams. This pissed people off and led to multiple catastrophes. I don't even want to know what that means. As far as I know, they faced no discipline. Okay, I'm going to try to pick Lulu up. Come here. Oh, no. You want me picked up? It's okay. I guess that's a no, chat. I thought she wanted to be picked up, but she instead said no. Sorry, guys. Lulu hates being picked up, like with a passion of 1,000 suns. But sometimes she lets me do it, but that was not one of those times. I don't know. She just has a full meltdown sometimes. Okay, here we go. So we're almost done with this. As far as I know, they faced no discipline. So that was exhaustive. Those are the wings of the agency that I knew about during my time there. It feels good to get this off my chest. I've been sort of keeping up to date on topics, coverage in the mainstream media, and want to give some of my thoughts on this. If the U.S. comes out directly and says, we have craft, we have bodies, it means that we are on the verge of a serious global conflict like we've never seen before. Well, that's not a good sign. If the U.S. comes out and directly says, we have craft, we have bodies, it means we are on the verge of a serious global conflict like we've never seen before. Feels bad. They will only reveal this to the public if absolutely necessary. The way the information is going to come out is through people like Dave. Does he mean Dave Grush? I think he means David Grush. Through people like Dave and further probing from Congress. Imagine if he was talking about Dave Rossi here. How crazy would that be, dude? If he was talking about Dave Rossi here, I might have to text Dave. Like, Dave, is this random guy on Reddit talking about you? I think he's talking about David Grush. Dave's a pretty common name. It could also just be a made-up name as well. I don't know. Not all of it should be public information, but I believe the technology that is just sitting somewhere would completely revolutionize the way we live. So this part's really crazy too, because everybody says, I don't think all of it should be made public because they don't want the super weapons to be made public. But they want like the medical healing, the transportation, the anti-gravity floaty orbs. They want the stargates to become public knowledge. I don't think that anything significant will happen in my lifetime. That's pretty sad. So this person's name was Hoosiers 1968, which would imply if they graduated college in the 90s, that, yeah, they probably were born in 68. So that would make them like in their 50s. So they don't even think it's going to come out in the next like 30 years. Crazy, right? It was a frustrating job because everything was so stagnant and had so much potential. We were talking about technology so advanced, it could render every single current global issue obsolete. So this is dead on the money, right, guys? We're talking about free energy right here. We're talking about free energy. If we solved two major issues with the craft and we were able to manufacture them, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. I wonder if the two major issues are the navigation. Presumably navigation would be the one thing they mentioned that. I don't know what the other issue would be. The technology being incorporated into our technological revolution is a hoax. I heard one theory from a guy at a bar that the transistors of the Bell Labs were inspired by Area 51. This is a joke. The technology makes transistors look like sticks and stones. I actually heard that as well. I do think the technology is being incorporated into our technological revolution. This is where I would disagree. I just think that it's not happening the way this person's imagining it. I think this person's presenting it like they're leaking information out to the public. The way it's happening is the engineers that see this go and develop stuff, and that's how it gets out to the public, right? No, the person said it's not the university that they think. So this person doesn't work at Indiana University at IU. But yeah, that would be the Hoosiers. But they probably are like from there or something like that. And I think that, these guys all talk, right? So they go out and drink and they talk. That's how this happens because they know each other. Like, the person that hangs out in the tracking or whatever, tracking and all the different programs. Pretty wild, huh? I believe multiple species of non-human intelligence is misinformation spun up by the security team. Well, that's interesting. There are mystery wings of the agency that I didn't get to learn about during my time. It's possible that one of these researchers researches other species, but I doubt that. Non-human intelligence potentially experiment on us and definitely experiment on animals. We have no idea why. The main reason you'll never see organized disclosure is because nobody can agree on what to say. We simply don't know enough, namely the NHI's intentions, sort of. We have a good theory and where they come from. So we don't even know where they come from. We don't even know where the non-human intelligence come from. The anthropology wing believes the NHI are controlled by an intelligence that is beyond our current understanding of how life works. The biology reports conflict with this, which is why things can't be compartmentalized. If the government were to disclose info, they'd have to get the story straight. We also have no idea where they are from. We, as in everybody I work with. It's possible someone higher up in leadership knows. I don't think the answer is as simple as another planet or caves on Earth. Wow. Well, that's weird. That's a really weird answer. This is why, guys, I say I have no idea what the nature of non-human intelligence is, because if these people don't know, then I definitely have no idea. I really have no idea what the nature of non-human intelligence is. And I just don't care. I just want this technology, man. I want the technology about if we solve two major issues with the craft, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. That's what I want. I want the free energy. The reason why specific facility locations are kept from the public is because some of them are sensitive and also not entirely NHI research based. It would be possible for some TikTokers or hippies to storm the first office I worked at if they were careful. Every place where the agency work is also home to other operations, which is why it's hard to identify where they are. Lower leadership is headquartered in DC, and the upper management is split between Nevada, Australia, and another foreign country. Whoa. Australia? They're talking about fucking Pine Gap. They're fucking talking about Pine Gap. That's the military base in Australia. We literally like got one of the prime ministers that wanted to shut down Pine Gap. We got him kicked out. Holy shit. Upper management is partially at Pine Gap. Wow. So Nevada's probably like Area 51. Australia, another foreign country. What if it's Diego Garcia? What if the third option is Diego Garcia? Yeah, Yahtzee chat. Holy shit. What if the third? I don't know. I just have a feeling. What other foreign country would it be in? Diego Garcia is the perfect location, right? Diego Garcia is the perfect location to have one of these things set up at. I would almost bet anything the last option is Diego Garcia. What other foreign country would you put it in? I can't think of one that would work. The Pine Gap one is crazy because it's one of the secretive bases. What you guys should do? No, not Antarctica. Antarctica is too difficult to get to. Although I'm sure there's some type of thing going on. Eric Hecker told us there's something going on there. There's not that many people in Antarctica is the problem. Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia's got to be it. Yeah. Diego Garcia, Australia, and Nevada seem like the best spots because they're also separated out throughout the globe. Security are everywhere and potentially even working remotely without a headquarters. Huh. Yeah, so security are like on call. I was contacted by a documentary filmmaker when some of my friends were, but I turned it down due to my specific involvement and how easy it would be to track me down if I gave them particularly juicy info. I believe the story will come out soon. I no longer work in the field and teach full time. After a quick proofread, that's my post. I'm not tuned into discussions other than what major outlets have to say, but I hope some of my information is interesting and felt good to type. Even my post doesn't get accepted. I feel tempted to sign off with my first name, how I always do in emails, but I have a feeling that would end badly. I'm currently on a camping trip with my family, but I'll be around to answer questions at various times. Please don't DM me anything too weird. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk. I've never done anything like this before. I'm sorry I couldn't provide information that proves who I am. I like not being paralyzed or dead. I'm sorry I couldn't provide information that proves who I am. I like not being paralyzed or dead. Well then, let me just play this again. Okay, chat. We are in some shit, chat. Was it even a good idea for me to post this? Okay. I'm sure you'll see others make the same claims in due time. Well, this is a lot. I checked my post earlier this morning and didn't see anything. I'll try to respond to what I can. I'm recovering from a back injury and will be up for a while. Well, I'm going to go ahead and save this on my hard drive. That was fucking insane. So we have already heard corroborating information. We've heard the 4chan leaker. We've heard the EBO scientist. A lot of that corroborates what they were saying right there. We can potentially, what were the things that we could figure out? Oh, yeah. The base, foreign base, hidden in plain sight. Okay. They said there's likely a paper trail that exists to find the name of the organization that would get you killed because it's just in the public. They said the stuff is not classified. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm probably going to end up getting myself killed here because I want to figure this shit out. So, wow. Okay, well, wow, guys. That was already almost 2 hours. Holy shit. Okay, that was worth it, though. That was incredible. I didn't think that was going to be that crazy. Let me address. Okay, so somebody asked about the Amy Eskridge stuff. So I'm just going to post this. I don't think it was that big a deal, but I did talk about it on Emerald today. So I guess it's worthwhile to talk about. They thought it was cool. Everybody was like, oh, you talked about this thing. I felt that was the first time I've ever felt like I was like this mainstream thing because Like, I don't think they realized that, like, what the implications were of it, but this was just some letter that I found, and it was cool because it was Amy Eskridge's letter, and I definitely believe Amy Eskridge was legit. But this does not mean that Trump read this letter right here. So this letter right here is like basically talking about the ATIP program, mentions Lou Elizondo, mentions the Defense Intelligence Agency papers as well here. Says that there's a race to acquire technologies displayed by the advanced aerospace vehicles that penetrate our atmosphere. So this is very consistent with what we just read right here. Their presence spurs every major nation's desire for such useful and dynamic abilities. The purpose of this paper is to identify these abilities as well as to show that Geometric Energy Conservation, GEC, or corporation in blah, blah, blah. So basically, these people are producing super advanced shit. There you go. So I kind of told them that, yeah, this is written by somebody who got disappeared. I said that, supposedly she was troubled, and you can imagine how troubled you would be if you know about magical technology and your dad has like potentially discovered a unification theory that was out there. So that's pretty wild. We're not going to get to the other scientific papers that I mentioned because I'm getting very tired now, but we will talk about them tomorrow. Unless I don't stream. If I don't stream tomorrow, we'll do it on Wednesday. We've been doing a lot of streams, chat. Okay, so let's look at the MH370 videos again. I think we need to show these videos all day, every day, all the time. These videos are the most important leaked videos in the history of the world. No wonder that there's all this disinformation and attacks on me. How many of these UFO people are bought and paid for, right? How many of these UFO people are just bought and paid for, guys? Somebody wants me to look at an Elon Musk thing. Is that new? It doesn't let me copy and paste from here. Look at these videos, man. These videos are... Look at this, man. We literally just showed the United States government's fucking hiding gravity manipulation technology, man. Yeah, man. I can't... I see your post, man. I'll try to write this in real quick. 28194973695. Okay, somebody wants me to look at this. I don't know why. We're going to look at it. Okay, what Earth looks like in radio frequency from the Starlink directed phone satellite. So, I mean, this looks like Australia, right? Yeah, this is Australia. You can tell this is Australia because everybody lives on the coast in Australia. Radio frequency. Huh. Interesting. Okay. I mean, it's cool, but I don't know why it's so important. Okay, and then let's look at the second video. I mean, this is what they're hiding. This is the technology they're hiding. So to even break this technology out really makes you wonder. I mean, the biggest question in the case of the MH370 case is like, why did they risk this? Why did they show this? Like, why were they filming this, man? Look at this. Why were they filming this? Why did they take the risk of filming this? It's unbelievable. Why did they take the risk of filming this? This is the biggest leak ever in the U.S. military, ever. This is their technology. This is our technology. Nick Nordstrom, thank you very much. Thank you, Ohio Gaming. I was just looking at Terrence Howard's Russell table of elements and wanted your thoughts on the location of Bob's element 115, Gary Nolan's material, bismuth, magnesium, zinc. Okay, I can give you a weigh in on that after this. Yeah, what the fuck were they thinking recording this, man? What were they thinking? This is just, I wonder, it makes you wonder what other shit, if they've got this, what other shit do they have classified, recorded that they never leaked to the public? It doesn't even have to be classified. Imagine this is a defense contractor video. It might not even be classified. It's just hidden somewhere in some company. Like, what kind of shit are they hiding? They're showing like fucking floaty orbs warping an object away. Absolutely makes you wonder, right? This is wild. Yeah, way worse than this. So, guys, no matter what you think about the videos here, there's crazy shit floating around in our skies. It's undeniable. Lawmakers have been talking about it. Marco Rubio's talked about the fact that there's like stuff floating around the skies. It's a danger to our aircrafts because there's stuff floating around in the skies. There's something floating around in the skies. I don't know if it's aliens or whatever, but there's something floating the fuck around in our skies, man. These videos are the best thing that we've ever gotten to disclose whatever the shit it is floating around in the sky, ever, by far. Shows gravitational manipulation technology very clearly, shows it consistent with scientific papers that are out there. Anybody in the UFO community that isn't like 100% honed in on this is absolutely suspect in my eyes. Absolutely suspect. This is the exact technology that we need in order to explain the entire phenomenon. Everything about it, everything that's been made publicly available is all explained just in that. I need to show Sam Reed's reply. Guys, I just don't give a shit that much, man. Okay, I'll show it. I don't know why you guys care so much about this. It's not that crazy. We've already gone through all the Dird papers. I mean, I guess for the people who haven't really seen that much, where's... Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah. I mean, you guys can watch. You can go look at my Twitter if you want this information. I'm not trying to do a entire recap here. So Sam says that he talks to Scott Pace. Scott Pace is some dude. I don't know what all these letters mean. Whatever, secret something or other. Whatever. Here's all the Dird papers. He showed him it. Yeah, we already looked at all the Dird papers, man. This is why they've got all these Dird papers out there. These Dird papers are probably linked to the exact program that we were just reading about from the whistleblower. This is the technology. Like all these papers explain our best understanding of that technology. This is where all this stuff comes from. I'm basically sure at this point. And then this is just, Defense Intelligence Agency. This is, here's what I'll say, guys. A lot of people don't like General Flynn. Listen to anything General Flynn says about UFOs or advanced technology. Listen very carefully, man. Those papers are from the Defense Intelligence Agency. General Flynn was the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. 2 + 2 = 4, guys. 2 + 2 = 4. Unless you're Terrence Howard, then 1 × 1 = 2. Okay. Speaking on Terrence Howard, I think I have another clip I can play. We're going to get ourselves, whatever, copyright striked. This one. Okay. Yeah, here we go.
I guess he wanted me to support Bohr or Schringer or Feynman or any of those people. And I'm looking at the Feynman diagrams. I'm like, you made all these things up. You're basically doing the Mr. Spock thing. If you want to find the answer to something, then you cancel out all the possibilities, all other possibilities, and you root it down to one thing. So that means going through the whole universe to answer one question. And that's the problem with probability. That's the problem with Heisenberg uncertainty.
So the problem with Terrence Howard is he's a little too out there. You open yourself up to being discredited when he's talking about real scientists right here. Like these are not made up people. These are real scientists that are very big heavyweights in the realm of physics.
That's the problem with Schrodinger. All of those were just these probabilities because they had taken the ether out. They forgot the electromagnetic wave. Mm-hmm. It had to have a medium in which it followed on.
Yes. 100% correct. The electromagnetic wave needs a medium. Water waves require a medium. Sound waves require a medium, our atmosphere. The only reason why we can talk is that there's sound, that there's an atmosphere to talk through. Electromagnetic waves also require a medium, the ether.
It had to have something in which it was moving on.
They don't exist in isolation.
No, they do not. And it cannot be the cause of its own action. An effect can never be the cause of the action. The chicken cannot come the egg cannot come before the chicken. The chicken has to be there first in order to lay it. It has to mate. And what Einstein left out was the equal and opposite of magnetism. So when he, back to Neil deGrasse, when he wrote his response.
So he gets completely shredded by Neil deGrasse Tyson. And the equal and opposite, I think the better way to describe it is there's symmetry. There's always symmetry in science. And in nature, there's symmetry everywhere we look. Always symmetry. Look at our faces. Symmetry. Why is there not symmetry in the vacuum of space-time? What's the opposite? What's the opposite side of it? What's the flip side of the coin? The ether. The ether is the flip side of the coin.
To my paper, and he said, if you have any other questions, you're going to have to see somebody else, and he wouldn't take my calls anymore. I was like, okay, so I wrote the book based off of those responses, and I reached out to another guy, Dr. David Tong.
Okay, so that's the I think that's the only clip I'm going to play for regarding this. Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson is a moron. I don't know, he's a liar. He's just a fucking idiot. But whatever, that's his impetuous. General Flynn is probably not going to get indicted. I don't know what he would get indicted for at this point. I don't know. I have not talked to General Flynn. I probably wouldn't mention it even if I had, but I haven't. And the only thing I would say is just listen to what he has to say, man. Guys, if I have one power, it's my intuition. And my intuition tells me that General Flynn knows some shit. Okay? He knows some shit. And he's a smart guy. These guys are smart people, man. They know what to say in public and they know what not to say in public. So listen very carefully to General Flynn when you hear him talk about anything related to advanced technology, UFOs, or non-human intelligence. Now, if you don't want to listen to the other stuff, culture war stuff, political stuff, fine, ignore that. The stuff that we're talking about here crosses all political boundaries. I posted about AOC and Andrew Tate today. That's about as far apart on the political spectrum as you can possibly get. And I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I'm just trying to disclose advanced technology to anybody who wants to listen, man. If that's Andrew Tate that wants to listen, if that's AOC that wants to listen, I really don't care. So my opinions on Tucker, of course I'll talk to Tucker. Tucker's awesome. I like Tucker a lot. So my opinion on Terrence Howard is that some of the stuff is way out in the woo, right? The sacred geometry stuff seems intuitive to me. Seems intuitive that maybe that's how it works with the dodecahedrons or whatever shapes they are. I think that can be expressed in the sense of the ether and our space-time interacting with electromagnetism. Yeah, okay, sure. The 1 × 1 = 2 stuff is way too out there for me. I don't really agree with that, but that's whatever. But the ether stuff he talks about, the stuff about the Michelson-Morley experiment, I totally agree with all that. I think he also understands the scientists that came before Maxwell. Anyone who's bringing up Maxwell, they're on it. Like they're honing in. The phase conjugation as well. So phase conjugation, like imagine 2 waves. The 2 waves can intersect any number of different directions, any number of different ways. But if you get them to perfectly overlap and make love, then you would expect there's going to be some specific reaction to that. Same way where if you have them being completely out of phase, like constructive and destructive interference, you're going to have some effect, some visible effect there. So phase conjugation to me seems very intuitive, just from a simplistic perspective. So that's my opinion on the Terrence Howard stuff. I thought that the interview was really good. I went and read some comments, and he's getting like trashed by people and what have you. And that's because he's opened himself up to it. So this has been very important for me because when I think about how I would express myself on Joe Rogan, I have to look at it through the lens of these morons and Redditors and shit out there that are going to be like, this guy is like taking DMT. Like, you've really got to ground it for people. You've really got to break it down logically. And most importantly, you have to explain the concepts in a way that people can understand. not just out in the woo. Like, you've got to say, you know, the ether is the medium by which electromagnetic waves propagate, right? The way electromagnetic waves are longitudinal through the ether, just like a sound wave is longitudinal through the air. You explain it like that. You explain that Maxwell's equations were improperly reduced and we lost the scalar potential. You explain it in a way, you say, what is the scalar potential? It's the stress in the medium. I can pull equally on both sides. That doesn't mean there's nothing there. Stress in the medium is gravity when it comes to space-time. And the interaction between the ether and space-time, the pressure differential, which we can see with the Casimir effect, when the plates come together, the negative pressure, you can argue that that is fundamentally equivalent to gravity. So that's the post I made today. And actually, let's watch that, and then we'll probably close out for tonight. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything. So that leak today was pretty wild. Any other questions out there? Yeah, Malcolm Bendel, I think, is going to agree heavily with what we've been talking about. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Malcolm Bendel's science ends up overlapping in a major way as well. Now, in terms of my investigation, what I've been doing, I am trying to make sure that I keep it as grounded as possible, because I'm talking about airplanes being teleported out of the sky and the biggest conspiracy ever. So I am going to be avoiding sacred geometry and 1 × 1 = 2 like the plague. Even if I agreed with it, I would avoid it. Same way where even if I agreed with 9/11 conspiracies, I'm still avoiding them. My conspiracy, the conspiracy I'm promoting, is already way, way, way too out there for people, man. And I think the only reason why it doesn't have the same level of disinformation attacks on it is because nobody's been talking about it. Nobody's out there talking about warping airplanes. Like, I'm the first guy to be like, hey, we can warp an aircraft. Like, I can take credit for that. I'm the first person out there in the whole world that's gone, yep, we can warp an aircraft, at least from a public influencer perspective. You know, definitely separates me apart from everybody else that's out there. And that's enough. Like I've said, that technology, free energy that comes with it, and the conspiracy of MH370, which are the videos we just showed earlier, that is enough for me, man. If that's all I do in my life is reveal that, I will have, give me an A+, right? I don't need to reveal any more than that. But so hopefully we can get to some answers on that. Hopefully the AARO stops ghosting me. We are going to watch this. We're going to watch this clip about the ether that I posted right here, so that you guys, if you need to understand what the ether is, then you can check it out here. This live stream, you can find this live stream on my X profile. You can find it on YouTube. We're recording this. You can watch it all. So if you missed anything today, go back and check it out. That was this has been a crazy live stream, guys. Like, really crazy. Here we go.
We call space-time the combination of time and space coordinates. The crucial point of the graphic interpretation of this four-dimensional coordinate space is to imagine it as being filled with flow fields. Then we can reintroduce the old image of space ether filling all space. The vector potential corresponds to the flow velocity and the scalar potential to the ether pressure.
Guys, what the fuck? Scalar potential equals ether pressure. When you look at the diagram of ether pressure, you're looking at gravity right there. Ether pressure is gravity, the mass interacting with ether spacetime. So in a sense, you could argue that spacetime itself is kind of like just the painting on which the ether, painting on top of the ether. That's what that is. It's like if you have, again, the canvas that you're going to paint on, you splash a bunch of paint on it. The paint is all the mass we see in the universe. The ether is whatever's left.
Such an ether is subject to the laws of fluid mechanics, as we know them from air or water flows.
And thing is, let's say you spread the paint all over your canvas. Now you don't see the canvas anymore. The canvas is still there. We don't see it because it's covered in paint. That's like, imagine the Big Bang and the mass spreading out all over the canvas, all over space-time, all over the ether. Same problem. People say, well, why don't we see the ether? That's why we don't see the ether. Because the paint is spread out all over the canvas. We can't see it. We have to rip the paint away if we want to see the ether.
So this ether movement can be described by Cartan geometry. Acceleration of ether then corresponds to torsion. So behavior of ether is described in the same way as in electrodynamics and dynamics of mechanical systems. In contrast to previous ether models, the ECE ether is subject to the laws of general relativity and is thus described by objective laws that do not depend on an observer's point of view. We know that galaxies move against each other in space. We can consider this movement as a swimming in the background ether, like wood swimming with a water current.
Yeah, so there too, they give the analogy of water once again, right? Because water is the medium, like you're swimming through the water. Somebody asked a question. Carter 1 is a great idea, Raytheon. So it is not dangerous, just changes things, or will it cause panic? I didn't understand the context. Sorry. This is going to explain dark matter, dark energy, and it's going to explain why we see redshift as well.
A previously unsolved question has been why stars on the outer arms of a spiral galaxy move at a uniform speed. Galaxies have a core that consists of a large number of stars and accordingly generates a strong gravitation. If this gravity reached to the galaxy arms, the stars would be pulled from there to the center. This is the result of both Newton's mechanics and Einstein's general theory of relativity. However, this movement does not occur. Therefore, additional, invisible matter at the edges of the galaxies, dark matter, has been postulated, which exactly compensates for this effect.
So we added dark matter at the edge of we needed more mass for things to be sticky, because we couldn't understand why these stars far away from the galaxy were not being pulled in, why they were not moving faster, moving slower. I'm going to say it wrong here. I think couldn't understand why they weren't getting just shot out into deep space. Well, the answer again is the ether. The ether is keeping everything nice and stuck and tight. I'll answer the question about regicide after this.
However, this type of matter could not be detected by any known scientific method. In
there is no dark
contrast,
matter.
We can explain the shape of the spiral galaxies quite simply using the ECE fluid mechanics. Spiral galaxies are formed by a rotating flow field of the spacetime ether rotating along with the galaxy core. The stars swim in this current, as it were. Angular momentum is conserved in the flow field. This results in a speed of the stars in the direction of rotation that is independent of the radius. So no dark matter is necessary for the explanation.
Yeah, and if we have an ether like this, then the idea is that we can extract unlimited energy from it. Unlimited. Now, technically, there would be some limit, but the number is so high that it's fundamentally unlimited technology. Unlimited.
The light from stars is redshifted the further away they are from us. From this one concludes that the universe is constantly expanding.
Yeah, so the reason why we think the universe, why there was a Big Bang and why we think that the universe was constantly expanding is because the redshift everywhere. The redshift is due to tired light. I'm ready to go all in on it. People don't like the tired light explanation. Tired light's the answer. Is that as light transmits through the medium, it's losing energy, and therefore you're seeing the redshift. We know this now because we have the James Webb Space Telescope, and we've already pushed back the age of the universe like 10 billion years. Like we used to think the universe is like 13, 14 billion years old because of Hubble, and now we have the James Webb Space Telescope, and it's showing us no, it's like 26 billion years old. And then the answer is it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger because we misunderstand the redshift. We've just misinterpreted that for, 40 years.
Alternatively, the redshift can be explained quite easily with an optical model. Since the ether is a medium in which light propagates, light will lose some of its energy on its journey over many light years and transfer it to the ether. This is a well-known process in optical media whose index of refraction is slightly different from 1.
Yeah, so if the index of refraction is not equal to 1, then you lose some level of energy as it transmits through the medium. So there you go, tired light. That's the answer.
Such an idea is not new. It has been known for years under the name, the theory of tired light, but it has not yet been able to gain acceptance in science, although the counterarguments can all be refuted. Thus, the expansion of the universe can at least be called into question.
Okay, so Reddit. Somebody asked about Regicidanon. Thought they were in touch with me. No, I stopped contact with the person that claimed they knew Regicidanon because I presumed that it was fake. It was around the same time when I had the whole scam thing go on. So I'm not interested. If people are not willing to give me some type of corroboration or vetting on who they are, I don't care. I don't care if it's Regicidanon or whoever else. Honestly, at this point, I don't need Regicidanon to come forward for any of this. So. We've already got so much evidence the videos are real, just simply does not matter to me. It's more likely that I'm going to get scammed by some douchebag than anything else. Okay, donations here. Oh, so yeah. With respect to the table of elements for Nick, hopefully you're still around, Nick. Element 115, I don't think we need. I've said that many times. I don't think we need element 115 for any of this. Now, there's some exotic use for it that I don't understand. Certainly possible. I do think Bob Lazar is probably telling the truth. And if that leak was true about the spacecraft that we've got, the mini shapes, then it almost seems like they're alluding to Bob Lazar. Also, the way Bob Lazar told his story, he comes off as very credible to me, not somebody that's trying to make that into his career or anything like that. So whether or not he's been told misinformation is one thing. I don't know. The material bismuth, magnesium, zinc is supposedly a metamaterial. And from the people that I've talked to, it would seem to have a very specific purpose related to some of these electromagnetic and electrogravitic, electromagnetic capabilities. So I do think that there is something there. Bismuth is a very interesting element. And I think it's the idea that you have like an insulator between two potentially different conducting surfaces. I haven't really dug into it too much, but it definitely seems like it's a very specific, and it's at the like atomic layer, where it's like one layer of atoms that is producing that. So it's like a metamaterial that if those things are producing craft to spec, like the leak says, then that would potentially be the purpose. So hopefully that answers your donation question. Thank you, Nick. Thank you again, Ohio. Austin Awake says, okay, that was the question about Regicidanon, Austin. Thank you very much for the donation. Appreciate it. For the record, I do answer questions in the chat from pretty much anybody. You don't have to donate. And if you need your money, please do not send me the money. But I do appreciate it. And anyone who does donate, I am going to try to read off your question or whatever. So hopefully that answers your question on the Regicidanon thing. Sorry to let you down, but unless they were to reach out to me more directly, I'm not really interested. And then Ben Love, can you pass the Discord? I keep missing it on the YouTube. Yeah, I'll put another Discord link. I'm going to do a brand new one here. Okay, so this one has 25 people. If you guys want to jump into the Discord. Again, no trolling in the Discord. There you go. So I put that in Discord. If you want that, you have to be in the YouTube in order to see the Discord, or there it is right there. You have the name in the bottom left. If you're on X, you can just type that in and you can invite. So thank you guys very much. Yeah, sorry, Regina, we won't be doing the 360 anymore. I apologize. We're not doing 360s anymore. I don't like having my microphone go flying down, so we're not doing 360s. Maybe when I get my new setup, we'll be able to do 360s again, but for now, we can't. Let's see. Any other last questions? I think that's probably it, guys. So tomorrow we definitely will be let's say the next stream we will be doing science. I will try to start getting the streams more consistent with a specific time for you guys as well, so it's easier for people to accommodate their schedules. I would like to try to do them a little bit earlier, so I'm not up so late. But we'll find out how that goes. Right now, it's just me doing all this by myself. It's a lot, and I have to try to set it up after work, so I don't get a lot of time to read them. So once again, check out some of those scientific papers. We'll dig into some of the science tomorrow, talk about those scientific concepts tomorrow. Also, if you guys have videos, scientific videos that you want to watch, make a note of them. And then tomorrow when we're doing our science streams, you can link the videos or tell me. The best way is tell me what to search for in YouTube or wherever to find the videos, or put it in the Discord. And then that way I can link to them when I do the live stream and we can watch the videos together. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. It was a good stream tonight. Let's see what let's play our country song, and then we'll play one of our other songs to close us out tonight, guys. Whew. I'm tired. This was a good stream. Oh, this is one last thing I want to show you guys here as well. I'm going to have to steal this GIF somehow. Here it is. So this is how I want you guys to think about gravity, everybody. This video right here is how I want you to think about gravity. Because when you look at the gravity like this, then you can basically see the ether. You can see the ether. The ether is the ether space-time interacting with mass. There it is. It's the frames around space, the pressure, the negative pressure all the time. That's it right there. This is gravity right there. That's what gravity is when you look at that picture right there, guys. Okay. Where's my song? Here, this one.
The days plain lost in time. MH370 vanished from the sky. World on edge, wondering why. Secrets hid, can't deny. Where did you go? Lost in the night, no goodbye. Just vanished from sight, zapped away. They all say gone in a flash to another day. Microscopic waves, wormholes in space. Hidden tech, a secret race, drone and satellite. Videos don't lie, truth so clear, but behind the bunkers try. Truth's on the rise, governments running, hiding from the eyes. Governments, they all know. MH370, where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go?
I love these fucking songs, chat. That GIF I just showed is gravity, not necessarily electricity, but it's gravity. Gravity. Okay, that was great, guys. Have a great night, everybody. Love y'all. MH370X. Peace, everybody. Later.
It's H370 until you do some research. Don't talk to me. I'm going to find the truth while I sip this martini. Your opinion, it means squat to me. It's H370. Not all heroes wear capes. I wear glasses to see. I'm going to find the truth while I sip this martini. The trolls hate seeing me succeed, but guess what? H370.